Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the WGLEU online playoffs for our Season 2 season finals. It's going to be next week. It's going to be great, a couple days, but we still need to find what teams are actually going to be there, Oliver. We do have now the next match, the last one of the day, of course, will be deciding our third out of 4 participants at our finals.
Exactly. They're going to be joining Tornado Rocks and Wombats on Tanks at the season finals, which are, of course, happening next week. Fortunately, there's no spaces left. All the goodie bags have been taken. So maybe there's going to be a couple of spaces. I don't know. It depends. But there's at least no goodie bags, unfortunately. Everyone likes a good goodie bag. But yeah, it's going to be Kazna Crew versus Oops. Obviously, Kazna beating Ding in that first match 5-1, I believe.
Pretty convincing.
Pretty convincing first round, I have to say. 5-2, sorry. Pretty convincing. Then we saw Oops beat KB in pretty close matches. 5-3 on Murovanka. It was the final map. So I don't know. It's going to be a good match. I think if we look at their previous scoreline, 5-3 was the scoreline towards Oops. They won against Kazna Crew. That was actually the beginning of the downfall after the Christmas break for Kazna Crew. The reason why they are not automatically qualifying for the season finals, I believe.
Yeah. So, maybe. Who knows how it would have gone. I mean, Kazna Crew, this is the second season. They haven't really had that top 2 spot. I mean, last time around, they were close in Season 1. They were fairly close, but and then they got pretty well smashed when it came to the actual playoffs themselves. So this time, a much better start from them, and hopefully that their spirits are high, because we know for Kazna Crew, the momentum and the mindset for them are very, very, very important indeed. It's what actually has got them so far on the stage, I guess, on the world stage, and even on our season final stage. We think back to Season 5 finals, and that was definitely them going all the way off the back of some very good games. So let's hope this one, if you're a Kazna fan at least, is going to be similar, but I have to say, Oops are looking pretty good as well. A couple times, a bit dubious from them as well. A little bit back and forth. I mean, it went to a 5-3, so it could have easily been a tiebreaker there if Murovanka didn't go properly. But
and on Prokhorovka as well. I mean, they were this close to losing it when in that cap when KB was in. If that cap had worked, I think this would have been a 5-3 towards KB as well. You know, you have to remember that.
Yeah. So we have to wait and see who's going to come out on top here. I do want to know, we want to know who you think is going to come out on top here as well. We do have, of course, Tom, a vote set up for people to get involved with that as well, and we already have some results coming in now.
Yeah, that is correct. And as you said correctly, Kazna has a lot of fans, and they clearly showed that in this vote. They have 73% of the vote versus Oops' 27%. So people really think Kazna will take this quite easily.
Okay, that's a pretty big margin for Oops, especially who've had a fan backing as well. I think you've got a lot of Kazna fans in here as well. I'm seeing a little bit on Twitter as well. People talk to us about that. So tell us, man, how can people get in touch with us directly on Twitter instead of just sort of tweeting aimlessly?
Well, people can go to Twitter and follow us at WGLEU, and they can use the hashtag WGLEU. It's very simple. Everything is WGLEU.
Yep.
Yeah,
it's Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, everything. And they can contact us by that. I'll look at their tweets and tell you guys all the memes that they share with us.
That's good. So we've got that whole social media consolidation under the same hashtag and all that sort of stuff. Super easy for you guys. So there's almost no excuse if you have something to say for us not to
actually
hear
like little images below the stream. You can just click on and go to the Facebook and Twitter.
So you can just scroll down a little bit. Just down here,
as well,
and you can find them.
But tomorrow it's going to be Ding versus KB as well. I mean, that's the first match tomorrow.
Yeah, to kick things off. Like, no one's taking any prisoners, and then
I don't know who's going to win that one. It's going to be, I mean, Kazna versus KB versus Oops. I mean, if I look at those matches, I would say Ding had too many problems within their team in terms of connection issues. I don't know, lineup issues, whatever. Right. It's hard to draw comparisons. I think Kazna played slightly better than Oops did, but this is going to be an insane game. Tomorrow, Ding versus KB. I don't know, I think if I looked at the online today, I'd say Ding wins it. And the performances, though, I'd say KB edges them out slightly. I don't know.
Ding have lost to both, actually, Oops and KB. They lost to, I think it was KB right at the start of the season, like almost the first match day. It was like a 5-4, and then Oops wrecked them 5-1. So I don't think history is with Ding. I actually still think they'll beat KB, though, at the very least. So I don't really know how to go with Oops.
They have to. I mean, I think for Ding, if they want to be one of those top teams, you know, this season in the European League, they'll have to get to the season finals. I think they desperately need it.
No doubt about it. So there's still a little bit of a road to go yet before we actually find out whether Ding are going to be there or not. I'd love to see them at a live event as well.
Yeah.
We'd be interested to see if they're like Kazna, if they thrive off that LAN environment or that event environment, or maybe vice versa. Maybe that they struggle. There's only one way to find out, though. And they need to get through tomorrow's game. So that'll be the same time, 2 p.m. Tomorrow, as we'll be playing the last of our online playoff games. First map here, Prokhorovka, between these two guys. We can start to jump into this one now and get a little bit more focus towards it. Oops managed to win out pretty convincing, I think, on both of them. I think they turned around the second Prokhorovka round quite nicely. I think when we saw
the resets.
Yeah, when and KB trying to get pretty aggressive here as well.
Yeah, the eastern side push when Fussy Eater caught KB out quite nicely.
Yeah, when he was supposed to be the one being caught out, that's the thing.
Yeah.
So I think they're pretty good at it. I think Kazna, though, are happy to play Prokhorovka as well.
We didn't see them today play it, though. So.
No, they didn't. Could be banned out as well against them.
Yeah, it could have been. Prokhorovka is a good map for Kazna. I mean, they've always been that team which has played the open maps better. Steps maybe an exception, but they also beat Ding there, so it was a 1-1 at least. But I think Prokhorovka is one of the stronger maps for Kazna crew. But I think it's also one of the stronger maps for Oops as well. I mean, I remember Oops against KB back in the days when KB won against him, or Oops. No, it wasn't Oops versus KB. I think Oops versus Ding. When we first realized that Oops is a really good team, they actually were winning on Prokhorovka, and that's why I was like, these guys are good.
Yeah.
So
I mean, the first map Prokhorovka, then we're on to Murovanka, then Steps, then Himmelsdorf to finish it off here as well. So, I mean, we've already seen Kazna play Steps, Murovanka, and Himmelsdorf today.
Yeah, Mines has been banned out obviously by Oops. I mean, no one wants to play Kazna on Mines, and I don't think Kazna wants to play Cliff. So Cliff is the least played map by Kazna crew. I think they've played it only a few times this season.
Yeah, I think they probably banned Cliff and Ghost Town.
And they had such a nightmare against Wombats, they don't want to repeat that.
Yeah. Cliff and Ghost Town, I think Kazna crew would like to avoid at all costs. Last time these two played, it was Ghost Town that pretty much made it happen. So we're just checking lineups here for these guys. It's taken a little while, but surely they're not locking these in. I think we're just seeing a lot of random takes here from Kazna. So players are still getting their stuff together a bit here, Ollie. So, I mean, what we might do is actually go to a short break while they organise their tank lineups, because that still hasn't even been done anyway. So
yeah, only Oops have got their tank lineups in so far. We're waiting for Kazna crew to submit, even though they had all that time after the win against Ding.
No comment. So, guys, we will go to a quick break and wait for them to get it sorted out. Hopefully only a few minutes. We'll be back, hopefully in the blink of an eye, with the first game of the last match of the day. Thank you guys for bearing with us. Kazna crew taking their sweet time and getting their tank picks in. As Eurofish said, apparently 5 normal minutes is 10 Serbian minutes or something like that.
All the way
10
around, mate.
Whatever. 5 Serbian minutes is 10 normal minutes. That makes sense. Yeah, I definitely don't think they're quicker than your average Joe. So, Hiver being very
Probably
meticulous.
had a pair of teeth in the middle, just chilling out. Don't know. But the thing is, Oops got it in. I mean, it's been like 20 minutes since last game. Oops got it in straight away. You know, like 50 minutes. Good on them. Kaza's had like an hour and a half. Still haven't done it.
Because Hiver's got his big flow chart. Like, if we play KB, this. If we play Oops, this.
No, it's just slow fingers. I think he's getting old. Exactly. So
Plays tanks with like one hand on the mouse.
I mean, like he's been like a professional in Counter-Strike, Guild Wars, I think as well. I'm not sure. So one of those two or both those. So he's been around. Like he's been a top leader in quite a few teams. So not surprising that Kazna Crew's so far up.
Well, we need to wait for Hiber to.
I think he was
connect.
actually. Yeah, I think in CS he was actually touring the world at one point with his team, Serbian national team or something.
Hiber.
Yeah. But it was just 1.6.
Well, it was 1.6.
Yeah, 1.5, 1.6.
Yeah,
I was like 14.
I don't know if he was ever big on the European scale though as well. But you do have like Eastern Europe as well as their own is almost a region unto themselves in that one. So. Yeah. Well, can we have a look at we can't have a look at the tank picks yet because I don't really know if they're locked in yet. But we already talked a bit about Prokhorovka now. I mean, we can hash that. I think HD's.
I can say it. Yeah, Prokhorovka. It's going to be Kazna Crew on the attack. Obviously, Oops on the defend. Then we've got Murovanka, Steps, Himmelsdorf, as you already said. Murovanka's going to be Oops on the attack. Steps, Oops on the attack. Himmelsdorf, Oops on the defense. So, I mean, technically, Kazna Crew wants to be getting a lead before Himmelsdorf when they have to play on the attacking side. If it's like a 4-2 or a 4-3 situation and they have to go on the attack on Himmelsdorf, yeah, they had a good round against Ding on the attack. Still, it would be a hard match for them to win, for sure.
So, I mean, looking back and seeing what maps these guys have played against each other before, there are a few, actually. I mean, Ghost Towns have been played, Mines obviously being banned away. Even the last time these guys played was 1-1. Murovanka is in there. That was a 1-1 between these two last time, and Himmelsdorf was also a 1-1. So, with Ghost Town and Mines out of the pool for this one, it's hard to say, actually. It's hard to draw on past results, I guess, and go from there into this one. So, I really know very, very little about it here at this stage. Don't know. So, again, yeah, we're giving you a bit of flack for that one. That's fine. Taking the sweet time. I mean, what we would probably do actually is even check in with a vote now and see if people have updated that at all. Just because we're filling for time at the moment, really, because Kazna are making me want to go to Serbia and put my foot in Hiber's rear end and break it off. But anyway, where are we at with that, Tom?
Well, there's been a little bit of a change. A few more votes for Kazna came in, actually. They're now at 78%, almost getting close to that 80% versus Oops' 22%. So Kazna has a lot of fans, once again. So
it's looking even more rosy than it was before, like a 4% increase or something like that. So, all right, fairly strong. You guys can, of course, share this waiting period with us as well via the hashtag WGLEU as we,
mate, you do vote. Knocked over my water.
It's all falling apart here, isn't it, Ollie? You have an open bottle of water under the table.
Next to your foot. It's a bad idea.
It's not
I'll move that one right next to a lot of electrical equipment.
Oh, God.
It's not going well.
No, it's not. So anyway, let's talk about the grand finals coming up as well. Let's talk a bit more specifically about the venue, what we can expect, and the dates and of what teams that we sort of know that are going from EU so far.
8th, 9th, and April. It's obviously the most important part. It's going to be in Warsaw again. It's kind of a bit of heritage going on in Warsaw. Yep. A lot of other big esports events. They kind of like travel all the world for those big taglines, big headlines, whatever. But it's nice. I mean, it's got some heritage there for sure, and I think people enjoy being able to go every year. Bring their friends, bring their family, and just have a good day out. Basically, a couple of days out watching World of Tanks, and enjoying other things which Wargaming brings to the event. Obviously, we had the MTG20 last time, a couple of big T3485s out the front as well, which of course is going to be pretty similar this year. But yeah, 8th, 9th of April, Torvar, it's the big ice hockey arena in Warsaw. Pretty awesome event location, actually insane. Definitely, this is going to be the biggest one so far. I think it can hold about. I think it's going to be about 4,000, 5,000 people, somewhere around that point. Huge spectacle. I mean, every year we want to get bigger and bigger. First year we were in the cinema, in massive cinema, 800 people.
Yep.
Then we were in Expo 21.
Yep.
And this year again we're
which we had a good couple thousand inside.
Yeah, we had 2,500 with 15,000 people over the 2 days.
Yeah, so a lot of people coming through the doors as well. We actually needed more space in the end for everyone, so good for
Fire brigade weren't happy.
Yeah, no, there was like a limit of how many people you can have inside the building, of course, which is pretty normal, and we exceeded that somewhat. But so I mean, get sorted for that one. Of course, you can sign up. I think for it is that the tickets are free from what we understand.
Tickets are free as normal. I mean, you can just go on World Tanks EU, click tournaments, and you can find the news there. You just got to follow it. There's not really that much information as we've still got like a month and a half to go. Obviously, the season finals once they're done and dusted, there's going to be a lot more coming out. But I mean, it's the grand finals. It's along with Gamescom, it's obviously the biggest event for wargaming. 768 is a totally different format and even more exciting than 754. It's going to be a whole spectacle and a lot of cool stuff. I mean, obviously a lot of stuff which you can't talk about yet.
Yeah, that's right. But you can obviously expect, as per usual, we will have representatives from all around the world.
Yeah. I mean, right now, for at least Europe, it's going to be Tornado Rocks and Wombats. Wildcards also come into the equation. Right now, for Russia, it looks like it's going to be Na'vi, Hellraisers, or NSS, or all three. So I'm not sure.
I think there's a wild card for Russia as well.
I mean, it depends. I mean, wildcards all over the place. But yeah, it's going to be a great event. I mean, I can't look. It's always my favorite time of the year, grand finals. A lot of work, insane amount of work, but very, very rewarding. And it is a truly premier esports event. It's just one of the big events of the year.
Oh, absolutely. And with us going to double capacity as well, means more of you can come watch. And I mean, that better atmosphere as well. I remember the light show actually that we had at the very start last grand finals was pretty awesome. And I'm sure it will be just as good now as well. So it's going to be the Torva, not going to be Expo 21 this time. So more space, guys. Get down there, come hang out with us as well. We'll be hanging out. Yeah, we'll be hanging out in between the games as well. So you feel free to come up and chat to us about tanks or whatever, really. That'll be the plan. And even outside of that as well, we'll be checking out Warsaw. It's a lovely city to go to, actually. It's really... The people are really nice there as well. Those that we can converse with, which is not always easy, of course, as Polish is quite difficult. But and we're hoping for some more pierogi as well. The food there
I love the good. Pierogi's great. I love the food. The KFC and also KFC in Poland is like next level.
I had some
the women serving you are
very
very pretty.
Yeah,
and the food is always better. I don't know why.
We both have a weakness for the women in Poland. Actually, I think it's a little bit. I get a bit nervous around them sometimes. So
you dance in mirrors and everything, mate.
Anyway, so still waiting for the guys to get themselves sorted. Now they've decided that they want to make some team changes, so that's fine. Don't know what the go is with that one.
Yeah, it looks like Schnitzel won't be playing this one.
He's been waiting in the wings for the most part. It's usually like Genghis, HD, Sanyo for Oops. They just sort of sit around and wait, and Schnitzel just.
It's like the stack of Oops reserves is like 5 deep.
Yeah.
There's just Schnitzel from Kazna crew just sitting down there.
The super sub that he is.
Good guy.
I mean, it's been a while since we've actually. Have we seen him play for Kazna this season?
Yeah, we've seen him a few times.
A couple times, all right. So, I mean. Eurofish and Schnitzel used to be the more interchangeable ones for Kazna now. I mean, they run with just the one reserve, so they don't really need to move people around too much. I mean, with Eurofish able to pick up that Artie role as well, it's pretty important for Kazna to be able to use him, so he always generally finds himself in the lineup. How long are you going to make me wait? How long, guys?
They're obviously having a little gab on talking about baguettes and all sorts of things in chat. I wish we could show you the chat, and the training chat is always a brilliant part of it. But yeah, I mean, let us know what's happening on the test server as well. I want to play someone and get home. I don't know if it's up or not. Everyone's asking chat. I had 3 or 4 battles yesterday. But
I've seen some people post about it on Twitter already as well, looking at the sounds and the physics as well.
Yeah.
And that was always a thing for me as well. That's why the T50-2 actually, I love to play that one so much because it didn't suffer from loss of speed when you were turning. So it was the most annoying scout to ever deal with. And they actually removed it from the freaking game because it was just too damn good. So
it was just unrealistic. Like, it was ridiculous.
Yeah, we played Prokhorovka.
But I think it was actually probably a mistake from them because the biggest problem now, in general, in the community, is that everyone hates artillery. Regardless if artillery is essential to the game, everyone doesn't like it, basically. I think the only time which artillery is like accepted by the community is if there's a stack of like 5 tank destroyers on a map like Prokhorovka, and then artillery is actually makes sense. But the T-50-2, when it was removed, it removed the only tank which could potentially work its way through line at full speed and kill artillery. Now there's no tank that can do that. No. None at all.
None of the old, Basucci's medal. That was the killing 3 or more artillery pieces.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I think it's 4 or 5 these days. I got one the other day.
Oh, you used to do it on the Panzer 1C.
I think I charged straight with the Centurion Action X. It's
brilliant.
Straight through it, and I found 5 artillery, so I'm not going to complain. Load Hesh, easy kills.
Awfully convenient, yeah. Got the 105. Was it the 105 on?
Yeah.
Yeah, 105. Royal Ordnance.
Best gun ever made.
So they say. Anyway, guys, guess what? We actually have a freaking game on our hands. I'm actually shocked to say it, but we're going to go in here. The T-32 again being used by Oops. We remember that last time on Prokhorovka, it got shut down when KB jumped on top of it. But now Kazna crew coming with 4 STBs and double bat chat. Oh my lord, we finally have a game. I cannot believe it. Let's get this one underway.
We generally wanted to be in game about 15 minutes ago, but yeah, Kazna crew took the time.
Yeah,
and I think it's gonna be worth it, I feel.
Well, we'll have to see. I have a little bit of lag on my spec PC right now. Hopefully it's not affecting the main one. Doesn't look like it. Kazna goes straight towards the middle here, and the T-32 backs up towards the top side of the map. So not in position yet on capture point number 1. I mean, it's good at hull down either over the train line or over the small hill in front of capture point number 1. So for a tier 8, it's pretty versatile. I think it's bringing the... I think it's bringing the 100mm or 105 on the 32.
105.
Yeah, well, I think it's been the 105 at this stage.
I think it's no.
Oh no, it's not. It's the 88. Oh,
well, no, it depends. 90mm or 105.
Yeah, I think the 90mm one has the weird gun break on it.
Better reload. Yeah, it does. Yeah.
Yeah, faster rate of fire. Alien's going to find him pretty quickly though as well. Not really what a T-32 ever wants to be. Now this position as well is one that players have been watching recently. They've seen a lot of tanks go here and now they're here to exploit it. I mean T-32 will get a little bit of damage in as well, and Alien actually being punished from behind as well, so he needs to be careful. He needs to get in and get out and get the job done. He does get the finish. He's just going to duck down so somewhere can't fire at him anymore.
That's exactly what Oops did last time against Tornado Rocks with the T-110E5. Remember that game where Breakneck managed to clutch like an absolute
That's why Alien went straight there.
They're going to push, actually. They're going to go across against Yizny.
Now they might have caught this 251 out, and Alien's on reload as well. He can't do anything. We better hope that Kazna crew has tanks ready to fire at this situation. They sort of do. Sort of. Silence goes down. Eldin Nexus picks him up from a distance. So Stefan is there as well. He's just probably not 100% sure of who he needs to be shooting at right now. But plenty of damage goes on towards Dumbness here. Kazna have about 700 hit points in the lead. But White Flag Baguette going for a little bit of a flank over the train line. An STB1 shot and missed him earlier on. And he's going to be able to stay around and let this whole clip go. He's going to cripple Nexus pretty badly. And then no one's tracked this bat chat yet. He's able to move back or at least move around here. But there it is. Finally the track comes in. If that was Wombats and tanks, White Flag Baguette would have been tracked from the first shot.
Yeah, but the thing is, Kazna crew have picked up so many STBs, which is great for single shots, but they have got no burst damage, and that's what's really worked out well. Brilliant little shot there by Vetso onto Dumnus. That's fantastic, and kept Kazna crew in the game. But again, so many STBs hasn't worked out for them particularly well.
Yeah, I mean, Eurofish is on reload here as well. He could be pretty important from the position that he's in, but neither team has spotted each other right now, so we'll have a little bit of a lull while we see some repositioning. Kazna probably just wanting to have a little bit more map control. Blind shots from Duck of Death towards Vetso, hoping to catch him, but Vetso is long gone from that middle position. Now we see a 2-2 split here essentially. Nexus is going to go right back down towards the south. Eurofish will probably... He's in no position to go up to the top of the hill right now, so he needs to stay put for the moment. And he has to be careful because Fuss Eater as well is in that TVP, can unload those shots pretty quickly.
Yeah, it's going to be a Fuss Eater, I think Oops' lineup is better. Of course, Kazna crew has the extra tank in Nexus. Eurofish trying to cross off this right side. He's on his own, like unsupported. The STB is not even close. And Nexus is about 45 seconds away from being in the position where he can actually help Eurofish. And of course, with Duck of Death in the background and Hyper on his left, Hyper's only realistically can be able to get one shot against Duck before he will find Nexus when he gets spotted. But you can see Oops aren't willing to go forward. Kazna crew are playing on the fact that if Kazna has all their tanks there and Oops go forwards, they'll be able to kill them. So, yeah, now Nexus has the hill. Kazna crew now starting to rotate a little bit. Eurofish finds somewhere, a little bit of lag actually. I believe that's from our side. And Yeah, so a bit of information there for Kazna, and the cap seems to have started for them as well.
Yeah, Nexus might bait this one. You can see he's sitting on the lower side of the hill, so if someone is actually going to go to him, the Batchat will be able to fire towards somewhere. At least there might be a trade scenario that could be achieved by Kazna, or at least a appreciable amount of damage to be done. Duck of Death will move forward here now as Oops need to respond to this cap now happening over in the western side. Going to be one STB1 on the cap, one sitting back. Eurofish in the middle. Decent setup by Kazza here to cover this, but Duck of Death now going to move through. He's going to have some friends as well. Somewhere does spot Nexus. Eurofish got wrecked. Eurofish was supposed to be the one helping out Nexus here, but instead he just got completely pooped on. And Nexus just trying to duck around the corner. He'll keep somewhere busy for the moment. Going to take a shot. And Nexus knows he's going to go down, but somewhere it's going to take him a long time to get out of this pit. So it's essentially a 2v2 for the next couple minutes. Kazna crew definitely need to capitalize on this now. Duck of Death is still looking really healthy, but Vetsa's going to come in now and try and change that.
Yeah, I mean, that wasn't a good move from Kazna crew. A little bit short-sighted for them for going in the cap, and Oops just played it perfectly, just going around the side. Eurofish on his own on the left side of that mountain instead of the right side, which of course meant that he was not supported by the rest of his team, and he's going to go forwards for Fussitas in support.
Vetso pushing too far forward here. Fussitas comes in from the middle. He's got 2 shots. Vetso will die in this engagement and make it a 1v3. Like, can you just... Yeah, all right. He could have sat back a little bit, maybe had to be a little bit more patient. He needed to try and use Hyber a bit. Now Hyber goes on his own 1v3. And Hyber's a good player, but he's not... I wouldn't say mechanically he's a star player. He's not really a Diodor,
against
Death. Average. Very, very average. He'll go down now as well. And Kazna crew had that in the palm of their hands. It was a good time push from Oops. They pushed the hill and the middle of the map simultaneously.
Yep.
This meant that Eurofish couldn't actually help Nexus on the hill, which was the idea. And then I guess two tanks pushing into the middle. Vetso went too far forward into a 1v2 situation. He had the 1v1. He bounced the shot. He was looking really good, but he just kept going forward.
I know, but I think the main point is that the STBs didn't do enough damage. You could see that the TVPs have such a massive effect on the game. Like, they pushed in, they took down Elian, and even though those STBs with a great rate of fire, the 6.5 seconds reload, just banging in 390 damage, it doesn't matter. Those TVPs cancel out tanks like nothing. They just cancel them out. The double Batchats, Elian going forwards, obviously dying. Eurofish wasn't in support, and just a super game from Oops. And you can see TVP at the top, STB as well, and Kazna crew's Batchats are 6th and 7th, but with not so much damage. And it really had to be about Kazna doing the damage from the Eastern Village against Oops, because Oops just pushed in. They had no respect. They just wanted to get the kills on Kazna crew. And then in the later stage, there's a bit of a bad call and a really good play by Oops. Kazna going for that northern cap, trying to set up there, which would have never worked, of course, against these medium tanks. And then a bit of a split up between Eurofish. Eurofish going to the left side, getting spotted way too early on, and just getting cancelled out. He should have been on the right side with support from those STPs. And of course, it was another like 20 seconds until the cap was done.
So that alien push there really quite early on towards that T-32. I mean, is this... I know you want to get rid of the tank in that position, but is that really wise? I mean, it doesn't seem like Oops had to do anything crazy to be able to get a 2-for-2 trade there quite comfortably.
Yeah, I mean, obviously it's a tier 8 for a tier 10, but the thing is, the focus fire from Kazna was pretty poor. Like, it could have worked out. There was 750 damage, which is 2 shells, just going out onto various tanks, you know, like tanks here, there, and everywhere. And that's why we had a situation at the end where Oops had 3 tanks on about, you know, like 300-400 HP, because everyone was just getting shot and no one was getting focused.
So there you have it. So maybe Kazna, decent plan there with Ilian going forward, and maybe they could have actually made something out of it, but the shot's not really going to the right targets, and we expect better from their team like Kazna crew, really. They're known for being able to fight, skirmish, and brawl. Even the macro play for them is generally quite good, but Oops have gotten off to a good start here in this first map. We'll have to see if Kazna now can equalise on the defensive side. Either way, I'd definitely say that this map is going close. Our vote kind of indicates that Kazna is heavily favoured here, but I'll have to see how that one changes as well after the first couple of maps.
I think Prokhorovka is definitely Oops' map, right? Like, they have to get a good lead here. They have to get a 2-0.
Yep.
We saw that we've seen them before, as we said. They've been fantastic on Prokhorovka. They've been fantastic on against KB on this map. This is definitely one of their stronger ones. They got 60% win ratio plus. And Kazna, after that first round, I mean, they got pretty close, but some big mistakes from them for sure. And somewhere trying to get a bit of control in the middle with the IS-7.
He will move up here. He has Well, I mean, he doesn't have too much to worry about. Kazna Crew, though, do they want to brawl out on this one? The bat chats are almost loaded. There's shots coming in towards at IS-7 as he moves across, and Somewhere has now taken some damage. And Elian, he's broken ranks. He's pushing forward here as well. He's vulnerable to side shots, but it looks like no one from Oops is ready. He wasn't even tracked up, and he's going to be able to jump on top of this IS-7. He did take one shot as he crested over the top, but that's definitely worthwhile here, as he's now just going to pound one after another in towards Somewhere. He won't quite have the finish. Somewhere might actually have a last shot here. He does. Elian still gets it. A 1-0 trade, although Elian takes a fair bit of damage. Now the rest of Oops are on the move. You can see them pushing down the 2 line here. Kazna had to be ready to receive this one. The tree line is going to prevent those tanks from being spotted here from Oops, so Kazna could be taken unaware here. There's going to be 5 tanks pushing up here. Kazna a little bit split. They may have caught an Object 140 out towards the back, but this is about to get messy real quick.
Yeah, they have to take the Object 140 here, but I think Eurofish is on reload right now in that bat chat. And yeah, this is going to be an interesting game. I think the positions from Oops are better because they've got that left tree side, but you can see Fussy is getting taken down pretty low. Kazna need to get towards that eastern side a little bit more. They need to keep Hyber and Vetso safe. That's the most important thing. But I mean, there's also an Object 140 versus Batchat duel right now.
And Eurofish doesn't actually look like he's loaded right now as well. We'll have to wait on that one. Well, Oops, sorry, Grosser getting pretty lucky actually being able to back away, only having taken a small amount of health damage. And look at this little, I guess this little line that Oops have been able to draw here on the 2 side, the 2 line. They can focus some shots downward towards the middle of the map, just like what White Flag Baguette's doing now. He's lit, so there's a lot of shots coming in towards him, but when Kazna are going to miss 5 shots, White Flag could have been dead then, but now he gets a second shot instead and still backs away and survives.
Yeah, great stuff. I mean, the Batchat's such a small tank. It's definitely a better one, and Yizni's actually going to go in against Grosser here. Eurolfish also in support. Could be a risky move from Ural. The thing is, Eurolfish is in just a bad position right now in general.
Yeah, he's going to come forward though and hope not to get shot by any of the other Oops players. I think Grosser will maybe have another shot to throw in his direction at this rate. One more. No, Eurofish manages to get the finish. He did take a bit of damage. Good little 2v1 there. Wasn't a whole lot Grosser could do about it. But Kazna Crew still not out of the woods yet. And in fact, Eurofish can't see Duck of Death who's firing at him right now. He's trying to back away, but he's not going to be able to escape. The STB-1 does pick him up. Eurofish there, a little bit caught in no man's land. This could hurt Kazna Crew, as now we do see Oops sort of split. I mean, you got a Batchat towards the north, White Flag Baguette. No one seems to want to go towards him because of fear of retaliatory fire from the rest of Oops. Dumbness is still up on full health as well. And White Flag Baguette still getting free damage.
He's in the best position possible. He's behind double bushes, but Nexus getting caught out. That's a huge kill there for Oops. Fantastic work from them. Great positioning by White Flag Baguette, and he could just peek over this, get the shells, and he's really starting to do the damage. And Kazna Crew need to get back into this game. They need to get a kill.
Now they're going to be surrounded. They've got 3 STBs and RU251 coming from the south, and their STBs are all clumped up together with White Flag Baguette free to do as much damage as he likes. Isne gets the first shot towards Dumbness there, as those two will probably be locked in a mortal duel for the next few moments. But Isne is low on health, and now Hyber's getting chunked down as well. I don't know, man. Kazna look like they're not nearly as sharp as they were in that last game. Isne completely misses Dumbness, who's not even moving fast, by the way. He might be doing like 35 kilometers an hour. He still missed that one. Dumbness gets the finish. Elian busy trying to shoot tier 8s, where I guess the most of the threat is now pushing towards Kazna. These 3 STBs got to line up. They're going to take the shots, and Kazna are not looking good at all.
No, Kazna Crew are trying to go for these early exchanges, and then Oops are just changing their positions, getting into good positions, and actually going for the kills. So this is a really nice round from Oops. As I said, you know, they're Prokhorovka beasts. Just Stefan and Elian remaining. Elian's got an ammo rack actually on that French tank. Fussy's going to take care of Stefan, no problem at all. And it's a 4 versus 1. And Elian, as I said before, having that ammo rack down, has to try and scamper away for a little bit longer.
This is not a good start by Kazna Crew at all. White Flag Baguette is still full health. Sat up in the back of the corner, 8-2, behind double bushes, and just starts smacking Kazna Crew around. Again, Elian went for an early push. There's some early aggression to try and isolate and remove one tank from the map. Yes, they got him. Elian took about 80% of his health in the process. And then Kazna Crew just lost position. Oops have the whole 1-2 line covered, and they could just surround them. Really average stuff from Kazna Crew. They didn't work out at all. There's going to be 2-0 to Oops here as well, starting off quite strong on Prokhorovka, a map that we definitely had pegged Kazna to be fairly strong on themselves.
Yeah, but I think Prokhorovka was going to be Oops' map. I think they're the better team on it. Looking at what they played against KB, I think in the beginning it was obvious that Kazna had the better. Again, in the previous round as well, they had a good strategy. Go for the I7. They took down an I7 for free, but then it was the positional game, right? I mean, you had a whole situation where the Eurofish went too far forwards. He got himself into a place where he could only exchange against the Object 140. So there's a 1 versus 1 trade. But of course, the Object 140 was on more HP, so it was actually worthwhile. And Yisny got away with his life. The problem was, I said in the middle of that round, Kazna could have the advantage. They're on the defensive side. They just need to be able to. They just need to reverse. They need to go back to the Eastern Village, because as soon as you saw Oops just pushing up that 1 to 3 line, trying to get those positions, Kazna could just go back towards the Eastern Village and set up. But instead, you had Hyber and Vetso in the 2 STBs, which lost it for Kazna crew, trying to exchange over when they're in the worst position because they don't have bushes. And you can see Whitefella Baguette got a great position on the side, did the damage. Hey presto, 2-0.
Easy as you like. And going on to Murovanka as well. An interesting map for these two teams. They actually didn't play it. Actually, I might tell a lie there. I'll just check that. They did play it last time they went head-to-head, and it was a 1-for-1. So Oops winning out on the defensive side actually by actually just escaping from Kazna's tanks, and Kazna ran out of time. So Kazna's attack last time we saw it was really slow. They were really slow to do anything on this side of the map. I mean, Murovanka, like you said before, seems like a bit of a 1-1 to a lot of teams.
Yeah, it definitely is.
Kazna don't need 1-1s right now. They need 2-0s. They need to cover up this very, very poor start on Prokhorovka. They go 1-1 here, and they go 1-1 again. Well, they're going to be in deep trouble.
Yeah, this is going to slip away from them real quick. And looks like Oops are playing well. Like, individually, they're making the right decisions. They're playing logically. They're always having a tank there in support. Whitefella Baguette is having a good game as well. Insane is having a good game. I'm just going to call them by their normal names because it just takes too long. Yep. And, yeah, Murovanka, I mean, it's more been a Kazna crew kind of map. Obviously, they've been pretty good on it in the past. They played against Ding today on it. It was a 1-1. Wasn't particularly impressive round, especially on the attacking side. They fell from Rakar's position in the MX-3090 in one of the bushes. Couldn't find him. There's like 30 bushes which he could have been in. That's the problem.
Yeah, that's right. And they weren't blind firing towards it. They didn't have the liberty to just sit there and blind fire all game. The problem was they were still dealing with a multitude of skirmishes on the western side of the map. So you can't just sit 6 tanks in the Magic Forest and go pew, 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 pew and try and hit every bush. So you've got to play by percentages, and sometimes it just doesn't work out. As frustrating as that is for a lot of teams, and it is, it's just the way the cookie crumbles sometimes. So, yeah, we're getting our tank picks coming in just a moment here for Murovanka.
I think Nexus disconnected or something, because he was the guy who kind of lost it for them. Right?
Oh, really?
Because, you know, the STP in the middle, he just got absolutely wrecked. He wasn't like full HP in the middle of the map and then just got spotted and got killed in a few seconds. So he might have been tracked. I'm not sure. The observers didn't catch it. But anyway, we're in game regardless. Murovanka's coming up next, as we mentioned. 2-0 right now to Oops, playing very well, thwarting all the weird tactics Kazna crew are throwing at them.
Well, let's see if they got some weirder stuff here. Maybe it's just a matter of increasing the weirdness of your tactics to break through here against Oops. That's one way. Kazna probably don't want to be spending their Saturday afternoon being forced to play on Sunday. That would be pretty annoying if I was them. So they need to lift. They need to step up to the challenge here, as there's already 2 rounds mounted up against them. And Murovanka being a 1-1 map for these two in the past, Kazna crew need to break that mold. They need to rewrite the history books, and they need to make a very strong statement here. They'll be defending to start with in the red.
Yeah, the defensive side is the easier side for sure. As we said, 10% normally in favor of the defense. Normal lineups as well from both teams. Pretty standard stuff. Duck of Death in T110E5. And it's heading towards the left side. Looks like Oops going for a left side push. They're going to put a tank in C1 and just put it behind that tree. And the rest of Oops setting up probably for a little bit of a trap in this position.
They aren't moving too far away from there. And the 3090 for Kazna is in a bush, not the bush that messed him up from Rakar. That's actually just slightly to the northwest of capture point number 2. So he's in a different spot at the moment. So a couple shots coming in, and Duck of Death is lit early on, which is not a big deal. I mean, he's going to probably just be poking over every now and then from that position. He's got decent hull down. And Hyber looks to mirror him as well. This is very similar to what we saw from Kazna early on. Vetso playing the standard G1 reset position as well. No surprise to see blind shots being fired there. Oops definitely should be, you know, if they watch the games earlier on as well, they should be expecting Kazna to be trying to put something like this together. They did the same thing recently. Easily takes a bit of damage though as well. He actually pushed forward there, interestingly enough. He pushed forward in towards a Magic Forest. Obviously, I think he spotted one of the STBs there, but didn't really get a lot of info. So I don't really know how I feel about that move.
Yeah, I mean, the MX-3090 is probably the most important tank in the game on Murovanka. You can see, actually, Oops aren't moving, and it looks like Kazna want to get some sort of overmatch, take down Honey.
Yeah, I mean, they get the trade at least. I think if Alien can actually get the... No? Okay, no worries. They're looking for Duck of Death maybe instead. So they have more control over this side of the map, I guess. Alien actually not taking too much damage. You can see how quickly here Dumbness and Grosser are trying to react to this as well. Duck of Death, not the slowest of Tier 10 heavies. He's able to sneak around the corner and set up some sort of trap situation, but Nexus does see now Grosser. Now, Kazna have to fight here. They're pretty much committed. There's no choice but to brawl this one out. It could go either way. Couple TVP shots going in towards Stefan. That takes about 600 off him. And in the bottom, look at White Flag, Baguette, and Honey. They're going to flank on this. Kazna have forced themselves into a potentially compromising situation, so they need to fight their way through it. They need to get the focus fire. They need to nail it. They really need to break through one of these pincer arms and go from there. It looks like Grosser's getting bursted down, though.
Yeah, look, Kazna have just chosen a flanker, gone for it, but Hyper's just put himself in a really awkward position. Charging over the top of that hill has been caught out.
Yeah, tracked, and he's now doesn't really know even where to look. The Fussy Eater does get the ram in towards Eurofish, and Kazna crew are falling behind bit by bit now. Fussy Eater has to back away. He's on reload, but Silence and Duck of Death can still fight. Fussy Eater seems to be the focus right now. They don't want a TVP coming off reload again, but Alien is the same. He is also trying to avoid these shots coming in, and Stefan has to reload. A lot of autoloaders here in that little, I guess, lull period. But the problem is that the fight's being taken to them. They don't have the choice not to fight. Nice little double pick up there from Kazna crew. It's going to be a 3v4 situation. Honey still lives, but only just. Nexus and Hyber now trying to stick together. Hyber has some cover, but he just missed that shot at pretty much point-blank range. That might have actually lost it for him there, as Silence would have gone down.
Yeah, Hyber can't play Water Tanks that well these days. He's a bit slow. He's missing a lot of shots left, right, and center, and it's going to be 3-0 towards Oops for sure. Damnus going to come off reloading second time. And this is a terrible match right now from Kazna crew. They're obviously tilting after the first 2 rounds in Prokhorovka.
You know, it's funny. I think more than any other team, our frustration when we see Kazna play bad is the most palpable, right? They've been around for so long, and they used to be like the bottom. They make land finals, they get wrecked. That's back when we had like 8-team land finals, season 2 finals. Yeah. And when Kazna play bad, we're just like, they suck. Like, hype is crap. Like, they're just playing, they can't play World Tank. Like, we get a bit frustrated about it as well, because we know what they're able to do, but it's like night and day, Oliver, really. Against Ding, super strong, commanding games, great result. Now, getting wrecked pretty much right now. Not been a good start here at Murovanka. They're 0-3, and tilt is a real thing for these guys. It's so real. And people know that. Teams know that they need to get in Kazna's head, and right now, they have to hang on. They have to claw themselves back. They've lost a defensive round on Murovanka here. Not a great start at all.
No, not at all. They obviously lost the MX-3090 of Yisni to a little trap. He was trying to flank in that eastern village. Then it was just... They decided to push on Duck of Death, which is good, a good move for them. But then they decided to go more aggressive. Eurofish pushed in behind the building on his own, which is fair enough. But, you know, he obviously forces the rest of the team to go in. There was some bad exchanges as well with Stefan. And Nexus was really the only one who did some good work there with the Object 140. Hybe had a decent game. We had a go at him, but he was actually okay. But yeah, I mean, the thing is, Kazna, they had Vetso in the background at the start, which of course meant that the guys from... Oops had the overmatch at the start, of course, with the AMX-3090 going down. They had the overmatch anyway. Eurofish pushed in behind the building to try and get some sort of kill, was a little bit unnecessary. Hyber drove up and towards the top part of the map and got tracked and almost killed, or got half HP taken off him by the TVPs. And Oops just kept the pressure on consistently.
Oh, that's so... You know what? He's either top or bottom, really. There's no middle ground for this guy, unfortunately. Last time he played that position, I think, was it against Wombats or earlier today? Either one. He was quite good. He got quite a lot of damage down, was pretty hard to deal with. But Oops are just smarter than that. They knew to blind fire towards him straight away. They knew he was going to be there. I don't even think the blind fire was what damaged him, but... When Kazna wanted to go forward, they knew they lost easily. They knew they lost a flank. They wanted to get a trade. They wanted to make it, worthwhile. They couldn't even kill Honeyfrack, who just ran away through the village. Alien. Well, they were firing on the move. I think if they could kill Honey, they were like, okay, but they wanted Duck of Death. But that 110E5 is quick. And by the time he got back around the corner, the rest of that quite fast lineup from Oops was there. We had a full-scale brawl, and Hyber got tracked up on top of the hill, and things didn't quite go as well.
And Vetso was behind as well. So, but yeah, it was really a good move from Duck of Death. Like as soon as he realized he could get overmatched, he immediately moved out that situation. And so far, I mean, the TVPs are working very well for for the side of Oops and not working particularly well for Kazna crew. But yeah, 3-0 right now. 3-0. This is what we're looking at. It's going to be one hell of a mountain to climb for Kazna crew to bring it back.
Absolutely, and it all starts here as well. It's an attacking round on Murovanka. They've got to get in there. They've got to shell Oops out of their hiding spots, and they've got to make decisive pushes and go for the throat. They bring in artillery, so Oops aren't actually bringing artillery, by the way, so that's a different round that one might be. So they're going to bring the 1390 themselves here. So pretty similar lineup to what Kazna are bringing on the defensive side. They're going to have the double T110 E5. You'll be able to see it now in-game as we do cut to that screen. So fairly standard lineup for both teams. Not actually a whole lot of variation between them, except for that artillery in the 1390.
Yeah, I think for Kazna, they need to be using this artillery as effectively as possible. It's a pretty slow lineup from Oops with the double T110 E5. And Eurofish is going to go into A3. I mean, this position for an artillery it's a bit awkward because you're shooting straight line. So all like the hills and stuff you see Oops hiding behind actually have a massive effect on the game. Like, they are really effective. In a straight line, you can't shoot the tanks that are sitting behind, which is where Eurofish will be struggling. Some damage going to Dumnus at the beginning. That's just one shot from Elian. Gets spotted out early on, and the first artillery shell does 45 damage to Dumnus.
Harmlessly splashes, probably just on the outer edge of that one, even though the M40, M43 has a decent splash radius, given the higher caliber gun. What was the caliber of that one again, mate?
No idea. 240, actually.
Big.
240 millimeters.
Drain pipe, basically. So, yeah, a bit of splash there. Obviously, Dumnus able to back away from that one. And Kazna, that is going to be the first couple salvos going across here. They have standard spots using an STB at C1. Some teams use a Batchat. Either way, it's a great spot. Some teams use a Leopard. If I ever played the Leopard, I'd love to go there on Murovanka. And Dumnus in some way turning their turrets towards the south for some reason. I mean, the 3090 hasn't spotted anything there, but they're just trying to... Just in case, you know, seeing that first round, seeing how aggressive Kazna came forward, Oops need to be pretty vigilant here and expect any sort of weird push. But the pace is being varied here by Kazna. They're slowing it up a bit. They're slowly inching a T110 E5 forward here towards cap number 1. But, yeah, very, very slow. Now they've got 2 resetting tanks or back at H1 here. Maybe one of them might go forward, the STB, to sort of reset from G1. Hyberlip, he sees Duck of Death and not much else.
Yeah, I mean, the 3 rounds we've seen Kazna crew play has been 3 very fast decisions, which weren't necessarily bad at the beginning, but it's been the way they've played out since then, which was bad, and also the brawling ability being pretty low. So, I mean, Kazna slowing up is definitely something good, and I'd say Oops don't have that much information. They don't know Elian's in that right side. I mean, okay, Stomnus took a shot from the side, but...
He wasn't lit, though.
It wasn't lit. He wasn't spotted, but... Yeah, I mean... I think Hyber's just going to have to go around this corner and try and spot Whiteflapper actually going up towards the right side. He's not going to get spotted, obviously, being in that bat shot. And Stefan actually traversing forwards. And I think for Kazna right now, it's more playing against themselves. I think they can either beat themselves down mentally, trying and lose the match 5-0, or they can work their way back into the game and actually play like they were at the beginning, you know.
You can see how difficult it is for that artillery piece to get shots over the hill. It's the second one thudding harmlessly there into the ground. Hyber is trying to do something with his position. He's moved up. He hasn't spotted many people. No proxies really, except Duck of Death. So he might, you know, blind fire a bush, hope to get lucky, and then just keep going at his business. And Duck of Death is wondering now who is being brought in to back Hyber up. He knows Hyber's there full well. They spotted each other as well. Hyber, if he had his turret turned, he could have probably had a shot there. I'm not sure about
well,
the
it's weird because
topography there.
Hyber was he peeked over quite aggressively with Eurofish still on reload. So I'm not sure exactly what the point. The artillery shell does come ringing out, doesn't connect anything, doesn't do any damage, and yeah, I mean it's going to be about Hyber trying to peek, Eurofish trying to hit some shells, Hyber trying to get some information, and actually Kazna crew starting to consolidate the double TVP and the Batchat, the main strike force of their lineup, and see what they can do with it. Maybe put themselves in the cap. Silence is not too far forward, but of course it's a pretty hard job.
I don't know if Silence can reset from where he is right now, actually. I think he needs to come to G1, so move up about 100 meters. I think he can do that easily enough here. It's not really the issue. It's just more that he's not there right now. So Nexus and Stefan moved into position. So Silence has to move to position and then fire. So he will reveal himself a little bit. There's Dumbness. He does take another hit. And these tanks just going to push around. Oh, it's going to be good. Autoloader's going nuts, and Duck of Death is going to get burnt down pretty quickly. Now, do they back up? They damn well should, and they do. They take shots at Dumbness on the move, and they get around the corner. Nice little assassination. Great use of autoloaders. Even an artillery hit towards Silence just to keep him honest for the moment.
But this is, again, Kazna have the advantage at the beginning. But will they win the game? No one knows.
Yes. Tune in and find out in 5 hours' time. We're going to see Ilya just back around the corner.
And then they're starting to lose the exchanges. Vetsa's taking damage again. You know, like, Oops are in this game. Against Kazna crew, even if all 6 tanks are dead on the enemy team, you still have a possibility of winning.
I guess now Silence has to spot capping tanks himself, though. He can't rely on, like a peek over from Duck of Death anymore, as he's dead. But here's the flank. 1390 coming around the back. He's looking for artillery. I'm telling you, if he gets it, it'll be a very, very good pickup. But he thinking it's a bit risky right now. The STB1 is sat pretty close by. So now the Batchat's now looking for maybe the 3090. I don't think Grossa was spotted at all, and yet they're really committing to this side of the map.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, with Vetso and Eurofish and support, actually, they can keep Hyber fairly safe. And they are only committing a Batchat and a TVP. And there's actually a TVP heading down south as well. That's Fussy Eater joining in. And this AMX 3090 is consistently lit, so he must know that there's some tanks around the corner.
Well, this 3090 staying safe for now, should be lit, and he does actually at least see Nexus. So Nexus not going to go for the shots here, and just as well, I guess his Dumbness was looking right at him. Also lucky not to get tracked up by that first shot. A little bit of damage towards him now, but somewhere pushing it towards Hyber now. It's a bit of an overmatch here for Kazna, but there you go. White flag baguette coming over the top as well. Just trying to get on towards Hyber, and it's a bit of a counter push from Oops. They could sense that they were falling behind slowly but surely, and now they're going to try and isolate Hyber, but he's still able to do some damage. Eurofish killed his own freaking teammate. It's the only person in the league who's going to do that, and you can count on Eurofish to do it every time. But Kazna crew look like they're probably going to keep themselves back in this one. They're looking good health-wise, even with Eurofish just being Eurofish.
To be fair, he hit somewhere. He hit somewhere and white flag baguette. Yeah, he's done it before, but that's the thing about the M40, right? I mean, even if when you got the smallest aiming circle possible, the shell just goes into some weird tangent and hits your teammate anyway.
But why would you fire at
a
that?
Team kill.
Why would you fire at that?
I mean, Hyber's going to die anyway.
But he timed Hyber's death really badly then.
Yeah, yeah, but he still managed to track that Batchat or do some damage to somewhere as well. But it's a 5 versus 6 situation. Eurofish finds somewhere. Yeah, I mean, Kazakura is starting to walk away with this game. And, you know, the first convincing round, the first round where they slow things up slightly, get the information, get the flank, they're doing well, but Fussy Eater getting the better of Elian. As Elian was going down the hill, Elian will obviously pick him up eventually. But yeah, I mean, the really interesting part for me from that round was the fact that Hyber Pete made that T110E5 turn its tracks, and then the 3 TVPs went in. Good move.
Yeah, definitely had him caught out. There's nothing he could do, really. It was 2 TVP, 1 Batchat that went in for the fight. You can see a lot of shots coming down, and that's much better from Kazna crew. It's a start. It's not perfect. It wasn't clean, but it's a start for them here as well. They get themselves back to the Murovanka map. It did go 1-1 as it did in the past as well, so nothing changes in the head-to-head between these two teams on that particular map. But going forward, I mean, you know, if they drop the ball on steps and, you know, Kazna on steps, Ollie.
Oh, they did really well against. I think they did well against Ding on steps. I mean, it was that first round. They lost it for themselves when they had Yizny out the fight for too long. I think Elian got caught out in the IS-7. Yeah, that round was pretty bad. But yeah, they played well when they went on the attack. And this is actually Oops' weakest map. 25% win ratio thereabouts, and about 80% for Kazna crew. So if Kazna's going to win this match, if they're gonna get, you know, a couple of rounds back, you know, make it 3-3, this is where they have to start making it work, because you know, I still say Oops are playing a good game. They're also going to be more motivated after that round. I feel like that kind of team.
Get a bit of fire in their belly.
Exactly.
Well, Tom, it seems like we have a game on our hands, mate. I know the voting was heavily in favour of Kazna, but you got to start to be sweating a bit if you've put your vote behind a team who's now 1-3 down.
Oh, well, yeah, that's very much true. And the vote itself is actually the complete opposite, 3-1, still for Kazna crew. 75% in their favor, 25% for Oops. And I've been checking how the results went, and like in the last 2 matches, Oops's votes got a lot of traction. So.
Okay. And what's Twitch chat like as well? I can see there's plenty of Kazna fans, calling throw or calling tilt in there. Is there anything like that? Or
There's a lot of tilting going on in there.
Yeah.
I think it's probably pretty much the same in Kazna's TeamSpeak as well. I know exactly what they're saying, and none of it's going to be appropriate to reproduce on air. I know. I've heard them live before.
Doesn't matter, mate. Do it anyway.
Well, excuse me. I think you do. Mate.
No, I think the weird thing about Kazna, maybe one of the things that's changed, is that they don't maybe get along as well as they used to. Like, I feel like some fragmentation within the team that definitely causes some issues. Like, you got the Serbians, Croatians, and Scandinavians.
The team used to be such a homogenous unit, though. Like, they were all very much a tight-knit guys from the same area. Back when still Mojo was there, Palauda was playing.
Yeah,
They were just a bunch of guys who'd like medal in skulls, who rocked up after a big night of drinking to the finals and then just go out in the first match. That's what they did. But now...
Yeah, they went to like 4-line finals and lost every single time in the first round.
Yeah.
And then they started winning, but...
Exactly. So now for them, like, maybe that element of just like the happy-go-lucky fun element, maybe not so much there for them. You're bringing in players like Elian, LD Nexus, Isne, like these guys that this serious. This is serious business house. No longer funny anymore. I tell you what, they don't drink before their big games anymore. Not since I think season 2 finals.
No, Sophia, mate. Remember that one?
Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah.
Runza. I got you back, mate.
And they still won that.
Yeah, they still won it. But after almost losing in the first day and getting absolutely smashed, apart from in one round.
Yeah, wasn't it a school bus that distracted him?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was like I can't remember what scorelines were back then.
Not great. It was, I think. But so, I mean, yeah, Kazna now need to maybe try and look for that spark of friendship amongst them and maybe the glue that keeps them all together. As clearly, the pen in my hand had no glue on it as I drop everything on the ground. And your bottle of water, which is everywhere, by the way. But that's fine. I'm losing my mind anyway. Double Arty coming out. 4 Object 140s here for Kazna Crew. Going to be bringing those in. And bat chats and TVPs for Oops.
Yeah, so pretty standard stuff, apart from, of course, the Lorraine being picked up by Kazna Crew. See if he can land any shells. Eurofish hasn't been particularly effective in that artillery thus far. He did a bit of damage that last round, I think about 1.4k. But Kazna Crew still 2 rounds down. Still after Prokhorovka. It was 1-1 on Murovanka. They are 2 rounds down. They probably stabilized themselves now. I hope they're in a mental state to give us a good game, because Oops are looking so strong. They're looking like a dominant force right now. They only need 1 round to put themselves on the tiebreaker. But Steps is more or less even, apart from the attack is slightly biased. The only map which is a slight bias is the attack.
Well, Kazna, we're seeing this heavy tank strategy coming out from them, so maybe it's going to work out. It's not a defensive option for them by the looks of things, as they do still favour going for more of this lighter lineup. And look at them all move together. These mediums, very ferocious when push comes to shove. Will they crest the top? They will, pretty much straight away. So, I mean, Grossa frantically radioing back to his team. Guys, help. I'm about to get jumped on by the entirety of Kazna Crew, but shots are going to come in as well from Oops. They've had a couple seconds to set up. They will catch Grossa here as well. 1 shot for him, he goes down. But the rest of Oops are there, and Kazna might want to cater this to a brawl situation. They're bringing Object 140s. It stands to reason.
Yeah, I mean, the Object 140 is a brawling beast. 5.3 seconds reload or thereabouts, and it's got enough armor to play around with. And the thing is, with Kazna Crew, the interesting about that move was they were pushing into artillery-safe positions because of Insane's position there, just behind in the M40. So really good push. And that's just a counterplay from Kazna Crew. Now, let's see what they do. Can Kazna Crew throw a game where they got a tier 10 up? That's the question.
We'll wait and find out. I don't know. Duck of Death's taking a lot of damage there as well. It's a good opening there. I think Eurofish have been charming in with the Lorraine. And definitely taking him quite low. Isne taking a bit of damage back in response. Kazna have a decent buffer right now, but we'll have to see how long they actually have to work with that one.
Observers, show us the front of the tank.
Well, there we go. Vetso picks up Duck of Death here as well, and it does seem like Kazna still have a slight lead, but, Dumbness being pushed away somewhere as well. Kazna have overmatches, and they're going to start making them work for them. We're going to start seeing those health points definitely dip in their favour, I think. You can see they're always managing to gang up on these tanks, and it's only Fussy Eater and Silence left in terms of those real combat tanks, and Silence actually comes forward. He fancies himself a bit of a brawl. Maybe in his head, this is already over.
And the thing is, the Lorraine 15551 is actually better in those situations in the brawls. It's slightly easier to use, and there's less likelihood of you team killing one of your own brawling tanks when they turn unexpectedly, like Eurofish did in the previous round. So yeah, I mean, really good counter tactic by Kazna Crew, and I was gritting my teeth a little bit there because I thought they would just be doing one of their crazy tactics and have it not work for them again. But it's going to be a win for Kazna Crew almost certainly. Let's see if Hyber can get 1 shot. No, he doesn't. He misses it out. And yeah, I mean, win in the bag, and it's going to be Kazna crew to start to stabilize, I guess.
So now they go on the attacking side, which we saw they made very, very good use of those heavy tanks here. So 3-3, maybe this is within the realm of possibility, Ollie.
I think, as I said, Steps is definitely where Kazna crew are playing well. You could see the Object 140 scouting going forwards there. You could see Grosser going forwards. And he's tried to get a spot out. He tried to get some, some very normal move. You send a tank forwards, see what's happening, and then you reverse it backwards. Yep. That's a standard tactic, and to me that says Oops only has really standard tactics on Steps, perhaps. It'll
be concerning for Oops now, is they're going to have to come up with something different next round. If Kazna are going to play anything like they did against Ding, maybe this Steps map might actually come in as a pocket pick for them here. Or will teams get a read quickly enough? I mean, that all remains to be seen, of course, but I'm definitely interested to see what the conclusion will be here. Is tank picks still going to come in? I'm actually just waiting to see if they're going to come with the same thing as well, because then we can start the yarn about why it worked, I guess, against Ding. But we can go there anyway. I mean, we saw them bring a bunch of FE215Bs.
Yeah.
It gave them a lot more beef to their lineup.
See Vetso at the top or bottom, you're right.
Yeah, I'm telling you, man. Like, he's such a good player, but sometimes he just gets completely...
He didn't miss a single shot as well, basically. Maybe one or two.
I don't think he did if it's average 301.
320 is the average. But yeah,
but if you roll low.
If you rolled low, yeah, of course. He didn't miss anything.
Good boy. 9 out of 9. That's what I like to see.
It's
so
actually my lucky number, 9. Just saying.
Is it?
Yeah.
Whose lucky number?
My lucky number.
Okay. Wow.
Just remembered that.
Just remember what your lucky number is. Oh, brilliant.
No,
that's pretty strong there. I mean, we go down here.
Eurofish as well did some good damage.
Yeah, 1K, 3 shots.
Considering, I mean, 450, 500 is pretty realistic for the Lorraine.
And obviously, Grosser being caught out very early on. Not much he could really do there, as he tried to move as quick as he could, and Kazna were very much inexorable in their push forward, giving him no time to escape, of course. And we did see even the artillery shell come in there as well. It looked quite epic, actually. He was like, shots coming in, of course. It didn't last very long as he was eventually taken down. So Kazna got the early pick, and we're starting to see this, actually. A lot of their strategies are involved in pushing forward, getting an early peak, getting a tank away, and then backing off and then going for something else.
Yeah, exactly. And the thing is, the difference between that and then what they did on Prokhorovka when they got the early pick against the IS-7 is that they were safe. They were safe behind all those rock structure formations, which I'm pretty sure don't exist in real life.
Yep.
They're safe from, more importantly, insane. And then they could reset themselves for about 10 seconds and then push forwards. Oops did well in the brawl, to be fair, but they couldn't do anything against those Object 140s. They're really the best brawling tanks. Quite hard to hit. So anyway, it's going to be 3-2. It's been the last 2 rounds in favor of Kazna crew after defense, pretty bad Prokhorovka. And yeah, you're right. FE215Bs, T110E5s, Batchats all round from Kazna. And let's see if Oops has thought of a counter strategy since when they played this exact same strategy against Ding, or at least the same lineup.
Well, first of all, their lineup that's shown on screen is wrong, so we'll just clear that one up straight away.
What? Is it?
Yeah. There's no 113s. Basically, like Oops are bringing 2 113s, 2 STB ones, a TVP, an RU, and a Batchat. So they might have entered things wrong there as well. Let's jump into the map, though, and you can see them for yourself, guys, just to make it all quite clear. And yeah, double 113 here as well. It's a little bit different to what we normally see, but yeah, Kazna just not mucking around here. That's some heavy, heavy tanks they're bringing in.
But this is definitely a counter strat for Noops with the 113s, because those 113s are just the same speed as the mediums, basically, slightly slower. They can get them in a defensive position to counter those slower FE215Bs. And basically, with the HP and the armor of the 113s, they're all good, but they are getting spotted on the cross, just like Ding was. Yizny finds them, and that's giving Kazna quite a lot of information. Now, Kazna has 2 options. They can either just do some damage here with Elian and Eurofish, I believe that is, on the side, and not really that much connecting so far, only 1 onto Fussy.
Yeah. Not what they maybe would have hoped for from the opening. Even Elian getting responded back onto with a bit of damage. So Kazna crew have the bulk of their force here. Oops want to try and encircle and outmaneuver here, but they don't really have that option. I mean, if they try and get around the side of Kazna, they're going to reveal themselves. Isnay already pushing up as well. A little bit aggressive from Isnay. Obviously wants to get some spots here, but he's seen the Batchat. He's been spotted in return. If he goes down early here as well, I wouldn't be happy with him. He needs to stay alive for as long as possible, especially with Dumbness roaming so wide.
Yeah, this is going to be a really interesting match. I mean, Kazna obviously made the decision to go forwards now. but they are going to be going forwards into what we've seen so far is a very disadvantageous position. We've seen this not work out for plenty of teams before. Can Kazna make it work?
Now, those 113s there are going to be very, very handy, just popping up and down somewhere in Duck of Death, just trying to punish Kazna Crew for trying to take ground. But Vetso and Nexus pushing forward. Didn't look at silence there as well. There's a couple angles. Nexus has to be very, very careful. In fact, he can't really go for that peak anymore, and that kind of cancels him and Vetso out. They need to re-maneuver, I guess, into a different location, as Hyber just pays peekaboo with these two 113s, which isn't really a decisive situation either.
But Yizny's playing very well as well in the background. He's just doing damage to Insane. There's a Batchat also, Dumnus, sorry, in the RU-251 flanking around. But you're right, Silence is doing fantastically well to hold those two FE-215Bs back and keep them at bay. And this is a war of attrition, 100%. You know, I think Kaz's ahead in terms of HP for sure. I think in this position, the 113s are an advantage. I mean, they've already taken 800 HP and they've still got plenty to play around with. Yeah. So it's going to take a while for Kaz to be able to take them down. And for them, it's going to be at holding fast. There's no artillery to worry about for both teams. The RU-251 has found Dumnus.
Yeah, he might try and fight him here. He does have a bat chat with him as well. So, you know, Kazna Crew looking to take an advantage wherever possible. Maybe trying to bait Dumnus to go against Isne, but I think Dumnus knows better. He has spotted the bat chat as well, and he's just going to try and get out straight away.
And I think Oops are going to push in now. They've seen the bat chat and the RU-251 on the flank. They are going to go in. Yizny's trying to go around. Stefan on the side. But Wi-Fi Baguette has got to be careful because Elian's there as well, and Yizny's on the behind.
Yeah, I mean, the bat chat, like straight away, he's going to turn around. He's going to look towards White Flag Baguette. He's going to look to try and harass him as he pushes in. Then here comes the push. So Vetso, they're trying to kite this one back. Hive is also very, very low. So those two tanks back to back are going to drop in a few moments here. Oops just have to keep the damage coming. The thing is, Kazna, the early peaks were good. They were really, really good. And they're actually mastering this scenario really well. Stepping up by the looks of things, Kazna Crew.
The individual play is really high level from Kazna Crew right now. The focus fire was perfect with the FE-215Bs. And this is almost certainly their round now.
Now, 1,784 health left for Oops. There's really not much to go by. It's a great showing on steps from Kazna Crew. And all of a sudden, they bring things back. All of a sudden, they're not getting so wrecked.
This is one hell of a game, guys. We're having one hell of a match right now. And it's a bit annoying because my voice is going. So I can't really scream.
I mean, yeah, it's less clutch moments, more just really, really good individual play, like you pointed out. Kazna just on point here. The focus fire coming in a lot better than it did on Murovanka, especially towards the start of that one was pretty average. Eurofish goes in for the ram, doesn't quite have enough to finish off Dumnus. We'll have one shot there, and that is that. Kazna Crew making it 3-3. This one may well go all the way. Kazna Crew just dominating on steps there. Really, really good showing from them. I mean, but we go on to Himmelsdorf now as well, which we've seen Kazna be better at, but we've also still seen them avoid this map recently.
Yeah, we've seen them avoid it in Season 1 at least. I think they had to kind of go back to the drawing board and actually learn how to play Himmelsdorf. Considering the vast 8 maps we have a huge amount of maps this season.
I think they banned it against Wombats on tanks last week as well.
I wouldn't be surprised. Wombats are unbeatable on that one. But yeah, I mean those 2 rounds, obviously Kazna Crew knows how to play steps. That was an interesting move though. You had the position where, okay, Eurofish kind of screwed up against Dumnus, missing a shell. Right. Yizny got a couple of shells on him, so he knew you could get the one-on-one exchange. So they knew they would lose the RU-251. They saw the Batchat on the flank, so they decided to push in to get the overmatches. The problem is with Kazna Crew, with the FE-215B stacks, the FE-125B just sitting back, 7 seconds reload, to the 8 seconds of the 113, and they were just pounding those 113s, just absolutely wrecking them around the corners. Amazing individual play by Elian and Hyber, and then what saved it was that Stefan in the FE-215B went forwards and came around the flank, came around that rock and helped his team out, stopping those 113s from basically getting free shots into the teammates.
Yeah, I mean, Vetso and Hyber were back-to-back with like maybe 1 or 2 shots each or respectively. So not a rosy situation for either of those guys, but good work from the rest of Kazna, backing it up nicely. And, you know, we did see White Flag Baguette try and go for a bit of a flank around the side. He got 1 shot in or worth of damage. So,
well, yeah, I mean,
the thing is, Elian's not dumb, right?
No.
If he goes for that 251, he knows that Oops are going to try and push in, thinking that he's away. So what does he do? He can almost just like have one lazy shot, the 251, then turn his head around, and he sees White Flag Baguette trying to flank his team. He's like, brilliant, you've got your back to me, I'm just going to start nailing you.
Yeah, well, I think White Flag Baguette kind of didn't help himself there because you had a situation where there's a Batchat and an RU-251 flanking, so that's why Oops pushed in, because they get the overmatch, but actually didn't get the overmatch because White Flag Baguette was driving through the middle of the field, and he wasn't aggressive enough. He didn't go straight into the...
It was slow.
He was slow. He should have just gone down and helped his team actually trying to get those overmatches on the T110s and the FE-215Bs. I think if we look at it this way, when Kazna get their autoloaders in the right positions at the right time, they're winning the matches. When Oops are doing it, when they get the TVPs and the backchats in the right position, they're winning the matches. Every single match we've seen Kazna lose so far is when the backchats haven't played well. And when the TVPs and the backchats play well of Oops, they're winning the matches. You know, they're kind of superstars right now.
Well, Kazna Crew have a guy on just taking a quick break. I think Nature Calls is the case here, which is typical.
We've actually got a toilet below here. You guys don't see.
Yeah, that's right. It's actually just all hooked up straight into the bucket. And
it's like an astronaut setup here, sort of thing.
It's like a tube straight in there. I don't know. I think the astronaut setup's kind of uncomfortable.
Yeah, I heard about it. It's pretty bad.
It's like a tube, like. Yeah.
Don't describe it, mate.
No, I think it's not good. It's obviously avoiding any potential for spillage, but that's not really a fun. It's hygienic, but not fun. So don't be an astronaut, guys, if you don't want that.
Yeah, I'd love to be an astronaut. I hope I'm a millionaire one day. I think when I'm like in my 40s, I will be able to afford spaceflight, I guess.
You reckon? Well, by the time.
Yeah.
There's a Virgin Galactic thing you can do. I'll make Richo Branson.
Richo.
Go out with Richo.
The guy's such a nightmare.
Yeah, well.
He's a good guy.
He's alright. He has a spaceship, bro. If he drives me up there, I'm going to be nice to him. I don't mind.
Yeah.
G'day, buddy. Yeah, no worries. Can I go into the atmosphere? You know, he's like, yeah, no worries, buddy. All good. Be nice. That's what you have to do.
Exactly.
So we have a look at some of the tank picks here now. We can actually check them already. It's looking like a fairly standard combination of tank destroyers as well, with those heavies coming in. We're going to go into game now as well. Nothing that really surprises me too much, Ollie, here. Just a 1-1-13 going to be used for Kazna. Not any stack or anything like that as well. So will we see the 8-line 113? We sometimes see that from defensive-sided teams.
Yeah, and we see Elian as well in the tank destroyer. He did 4,365 damage last time with that insane last-minute HE shell.
Yeah.
Those HE shells we were talking about in the break, 90 millimeters of penetration.
So sick.
That's like, that can penetrate through the front of some French tanks.
Yeah, and of course the Waffenträger had no hope there. Anyway, Himmelsdorf it is. It could be the last map, or it could be the one that takes us to overtime, ladies and gents. It's currently 3-3, and Kazna have been able to draw the ledger even. The team who comes out fighting on this one, the team who comes out swinging, they're definitely going to be looking far better as they go into match point status. We've got a 110E3 for Kazna Crew, a Waffenträger Alpha 100 for Oops. And apart from that, it's business as usual.
Yeah, this is definitely going to be the biggest test for Oops. I think Kazna Crew definitely have this map. This is their map to win. And Oops haven't really proven that much on this one before. They've played it a few times. Kazna is about 80%, as I said, and Oops has about 80% as well. Actually, this is Oops' best map, so my bad. Should have checked that before I said it. But yeah, they've got 15 rounds played, 85% win ratio. So Oops have been fantastic on this one. And obviously, as you mentioned, Kazna Crew haven't really been particularly strong on Himmelsdorf in the past, and that might come back to bite them.
Yeah, will it be Himmelsdorf that wrecked them 2 playoffs in a row? Well, at least I want to eliminate them, I guess. That's something. So, Honeyfrack obviously in that little peak spot where he can see straight down the G line, and these days teams kind of know that's a common spot, so they don't really set up anything too hectic over there or anything too striking. So it's very, very hard to sort of get any idea of what's going on now. He's seen Dominus there as well. Good little peek from him. Not sure about White Flag Baguette, and Elian again going to push forward. He's going to have some backup here as well, but big shot in towards White Flag Baguette, and he just backs up now as well. Seeing that second tank has slowed Kazna up quite a lot.
Look how slow the T110E3 is at reversing. It took him ages, but this is exactly the same move Kazna Crew did against Ding. Exactly the same thing. Pushing forward to the 110E3, getting it hull down. Obviously, he's got to expose that lower glacius, which is the weakest part on that tank, and some damage to go across. But AMX 3090 of Oops heading down that one line, and they are starting to rotate. And you know, this is the big question, right? Every team, Ding, KB, Kazna Crew, Oops, they all prepared for that first match. But this match, they probably didn't prepare for so well because they didn't know which team they would play against. So it's about adaptation as well, I think. This is a great position for 110E3. It's hiding its only weak spot, the lower glaciers.
And he can still peek over that little mound there as well. With a good penetration, of course. Elian could be quite deadly there. So Oops probably going to shore up this position a little bit more. You can see there's an FE215B, a 50B there. And Elian sits on that corner so that no one peeks him and Kazna can get onto this 0 line without being spotted.
Yeah, that's a very good move from them, and they might actually be able to kill white flag here.
Oh, this is brilliant. This is a great little flank. I'm going to love this. I'm going to enjoy this immensely now as they just set up here, all tanks, and it's on for young and old. They see white flag back out, and they're going to nail him pretty quickly there as well. He's left at a one-shot, and now they can disperse a bit. Stefan taking a lot of damage. And Vetso as well, a shot that he shouldn't have taken at all. But still, they get through. They're on the 0 line. They can start capping as well. And this is going to force Oops to push into them. Health points are pretty similar, actually, but white flag baguette has been wiped off the map.
Yeah, Fussy Eater is definitely the biggest point here. Oh, Yesny gets chunked down, though, on the hill. The RU-251 receives some from the FE-215B. He's got to be careful. I'd definitely say Oops aren't out of this game, right? I mean, Fussy Eater basically counts as 2 tier 10s, considering it's the Waffentrager.
Sure.
3,360 damage potential, and Oops needs to push forwards. They need to make something work. But there's, of course, a T110E3, and as long as it hits its shells, this should be okay.
Yeah, I mean, Ilian's going to be able to... Oh, my God. Look at that damage on towards Duck of Death. He's trying to get himself into that little hidey hole, and he has for the most part. And he's taken a heck of a lot of damage to do it. He just gets taken down. Beautiful stuff from Kazna. This is looking very well drilled from them, I'll be honest. From, Oops quite strong on this map, statistically speaking. It's been one that they're favoured on here. But look at how they're just forcing Grosso away right now.
Let's see if Kazna crew can throw with 2 tier 10s ahead.
You know what, dude? I don't know anymore. I have to admit, I don't know anything about this game anymore. I was watching some of these games. But Isne hopes to have caught Honey there as well as HG coming in. I think Stefan as well just trying to belt him. Honey, watch where you're going, mate. He could have easily got out of that situation, but he ran straight into that dirt patch. Now, there should be focus fire towards Fussy Eater here. And he does get Nexus. That's the trade, the 1-for-1. Dumbness will finish Eurofish. Vetso's still there. But Oops, a little bit too little or too late, I think.
Yeah, that's a trump card for Oops. They pushed in the Waffentrager. They had to get a massive advantage once they pushed it in. They did take down 2 FE-215Bs, but it's a 5 versus 3 situation.
And look at Hyber. He's going up against Silence as well. Knows that he has the health point advantage with Stefan moving in from the back. Silence exposes his rear to the 50B pushing through. Never a good thing to do. And get taken down. 2v5 situation, 5, as it's just Dumnus and Grosser sitting on that northern cap there. Kazna can do whatever they want, really. They can go in and fight, they can go in and cap. Whatever suits them best is Dumnus will be able to finish off Vetso. A little bit clumsy from Vetso. Oh, the low roll, that's got to suck. And now Grosser, last man standing. This puts Kazna on match point. They've won 4 rounds in a row, Oliver. Huge comeback here. And if you're Oops, you're starting to get frantic. You're starting to get desperate. This game is slipping out of your grasp, and it feels like there's nothing you can do about it.
Yeah, it's going to be a hard game. And I said at the beginning of this match, looking at those maps, whoever gets towards that last map, Himmelsdorf, on the defensive side, does have the advantage. And that's what Kazna crew has achieved right now. They're on the defensive side. But I mean, Oops just need... The thing is, Oops are tilting like Kazna crew tilted at the beginning on Prokhorovka. They're losing the 2 rounds, they're losing a round on Murovanka, and then Kazna won, and then Kazna won that second round on Steps, and then you could see Oops starting to make those mistakes. For instance, I mean, Kazna crew just used that exact same tactic.
Yep.
But the interesting thing is that that's the tactic which Kazna crew obviously are trained for. You could see it was very well drilled, as you said. But the difference was, last time against Ding sent the tier T10 and the 2-113 through. Yeah. So that obviously changed the
Kazna didn't have to actually do
didn't
their
have
strategy.
to use a tactic. So, I mean, Oops had no idea what was going to happen to them.
Because when we saw Ilian push last time, it was a solo push on the hill. Yeah. Because he was happy to do it all on his own. I mean, Fussy Eater, he did good damage. There's no doubt about it. He didn't quite get that second clip away, though. That definitely hurt.
But we always see the situation where the Waffentrager is just a beast. I mean, that tank can make you come back from losses every day of the week. 3,300 damage. If you hit high rolls, you can do 4,000 plus. It's an insane tank. And yeah, I mean, for Oops, I wouldn't be surprised if they win the attacking side. I mean, I think they have a chance. Obviously, Kazna crew are now starting to walk away with the match, and they've stabilized, and they're on the easier side on Himmelsdorf. So technically, statistically, Kazna crew should be able to win. But still, I mean, Oops have been that team which surprises consistently.
And Kazna's tiebreaker is Mines. Well, the tiebreaker is mine, should I say, and it will... If I think about how quick some of these rounds have been, it'll probably be Kazna's pick. If I think about the Steps games that were quite rapid. So that's kind of good news for Kazna here. They might actually get themselves to a season final through the online playoffs, which has always been a problem for them. Just playing online, they're so much better at LAN. So teams getting themselves sorted here as well. We do see Honey being subbed out somewhere back in the lineup here for Oops.
Honey drove into that rubble pile on Himmelsdorf.
Yep.
Wouldn't have made a difference, but it's a mistake.
I'd be slapping him on the wrist for that as well, because he could have easily gotten out of that situation. Well, not easy, but he could have gotten out of that situation alive. He just had to watch where he's going. That's the only problem. You know, you can't, in the 1390, you can't auto-aim against these tier 10s. You're just not going to do any damage.
No.
You can maybe do it against a 251, but still, I mean, he was worrying about a lot of things at once, but yeah, it's an unfortunate mistake to have caught on camera. To be fair, Honey wasn't the problem for Oops there.
He was actually on that hill very quickly. He was flanking. He was trying to do some damage, and you know, he was actually the one who kept them in the game for another 45 seconds, I would say. But I mean, at the beginning, when you saw Elian do 850 damage to that bat shot or whatever it was, AMX50B, but then the more important thing is when Elian got around that corner, rubble, hull down, impossible to remove, and as you said, you know, Kazna could just slip past some tanks, and once Kazna was there, they managed to take down White Flag Baguette easily. Good response there from the Waffentrag, 100%. You know, a couple of 2 or 3 shells going into the AMX50B. But I mean, they took down a tier 10. They were in the cap pretty safe. Oops has to come to them. With support of the Elian in the background, you could see how much damage that man did.
And the amount of threat that Elian could generate by sitting on that corner in the 110 E3. Like you said, with that pile of rubble, it's perfect hull down for that tank. Just the lower glass is completely obscured.
Yeah.
If you poke into that, you risk taking 750 average damage. You need to, like, so then if you're going to peak, you need to be guaranteed that you can get more than that, plus more than what Kazna could get on top of that as they move through as well. So perfect, really. Like, I don't think we've ever seen, it's quite simple actually in the way it's executed, but it worked out really, really well for Kazna. So
similar to what Na'Vi did against, I think, Wombats on the Grand Finals 2014 when they had the T-32 or one or two of them pushing up in the hill of mines, and they sent 2 AMX 3090s behind the T-32s. The T-32 obviously a tank's a solid object, so the 3090s didn't get spotted. They got 2 3090s in the hill for free, and they managed to get the overmatch on the one tank that was on there. It's a similar kind of principle.
So you set things up with a strong tank to, you know, have some, I guess, overwatch on a street, and let the other tanks sort of get past as a result of the threat you generate there. So Kazna Crew match point. This might be the one game that stands between them and the Season 2 finals. We missed them at Season 1. They weren't here, forced to watch from the sideline, but they may have their chance right about now. Oops fighting to keep themselves in the game and to keep themselves in contention for their own finals berth in their debut season would be an incredible result for them. There's the spots coming to mid, double 113, T10 all spotted. And this is actually really similar to what Ding did.
It's exactly the same what Ding did. I mean, obviously Kazna Crew know how to beat it, but I guess they know how to make it work as well.
Well, they took no damage at all getting into position, so that's a good start. Nexus pushing forward on towards Silence. Silence is the one that gets a good roll and a good hit. But Hybrid pushing forward as well. They're taking control of that 8 line. This is really impressive stuff from Kazna. Look at them now start to collapse. They know there's a lot of Oops tanks up on the hill, so they're going to push through. Again, as always, try and isolate the smaller tanks grouped up together. Perfect.
Yeah, and Elian's there in the middle as well. Silence is on the side, but Kazna have taken a lot of damage. Vetso trying to side scrape with a bat chat is definitely a risky maneuver.
Yeah, bloody idiot. Come on. Vetso goes down to 500 on health, and here comes the reinforcements, and these AMX 50Bs better make it work. A lot of shots coming in towards Isne especially, but honestly, they're sustaining through the damage fairly well. These 250Bs are going to use all their shots, and then they're going to get collapsed on. They had to make things count there. The burst damage really had to be significant, but there wasn't much focus fire towards those Kazna Crew tanks at all. They're just shooting at whoever they could. I think Kazna have really shaken Oops, and now Fussy are running for his life.
Yeah, Stefan's going to keep these 2 FE215Bs at bay. Vetso's still alive somehow in that bat shot, and Yisny is just a little bit too slow to find Fussy. To obviously a very fast tank, but Stefan being collapsed on now.
Yeah, but there's, I think, Vetso off on the side in the bat chat as well. He's punishing these 2 tanks for pushing around the corner. Perfect little setup here for Kazna Crew, and Oops are done and dusted. I just saw Ollie do the whole thumb across the throat thing, so he's pretty sure that Kazna have got this one done.
You pushed the 2 FE215Bs against Stefan, who had 2 shells left, but there's a Waffentrager and a bat chat also on the side. GGs are coming out from both teams. Unfortunately, you guys can't see the chat. And yeah, it's going to be Kazna Crew to almost win this game right now. I mean, White Flag Baguette running away, and Dominus left in the RE251.
Yeah, it's done. It's done and dusted. That's about as easy as it gets, and Kazna Crew have impressed, no doubt about it here. Great stuff on Himmelsdorf against Oops, who looks like they've crumbled under the pressure as a newer team, but there we go. We are going to have our 3rd season finalists. Kazna Crew are going to be back on the stage here for a season final. It's been too long since we've had the pleasure of their company here, and my God, they're looking pretty good. After a very shaky start, mind you, they managed to bring it back, winning 5 in a row.
Yeah, insane. I mean, let's be honest. At the beginning, we were seeing so many mistakes from Kazna Crew. We were seeing such solid play from Oops. Just the adaptation Oops were making in the games was really fantastic. Individually, they're playing very well. But the thing is, the comparison we can draw between Kazna Crew this season and last season is that there was no way Kazna would have come back from a 3-0 deficit last season. I mean, last season against Penta Sports, they did badly on Murovanka, and they lost they lost the pre-playoffs there against Wombatsa, then against Penta. So the fact that Kazna could come back from a deficit shows that they're matured as a team, and it's worked out well. I mean, we're going to see Kazna Crew again. We haven't seen them for a whole season. And Oops go down into the losers bracket finals to play against loser brackets first round against Ding.
Yep. Well, I think it's Ding KB, and then then the next game, of course, is going to be up against.
It's going to be the two losers of the first game versus each other. Then
we may have a rematch
then
as well
Oops
between
versus KB or Ding. It's going to be super interesting.
Yeah, so that's pretty exciting. Kazna Crew are through, and either Oops, KB, or Ding will be showing up at our season finals. Exciting stuff there, of course. Here's your damage count back for that game. I mean, Fussy Eater struggled. Those 50 Bs didn't really have the impact coming in that they needed to.
Yeah.
I mean, they were going up against a T10, a Conqueror, and maybe an IS4 or something like that. So 3 fairly well-armored tanks, and unfortunately, the reinforcements came just a little bit too late.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is what Kazna Crew did versus what Ding did is that Kazna pushed into a position immediately where they couldn't get shot from the hill. The FE215B went straight through the middle, went onto silence. The T10 and the 2113s just went onto silence as well. So they got in a position where they can get shot on the hill. Obviously, Elian last time was just shooting down against Ding. And, Fussy Eater, man, how can you fault that guy? 4 players of Kazna Crew below him, but he's still at the top with 18,082 damage. The guy's an absolute monster. Of course, he was playing that Waffentrag, which probably padded him a little bit. But, I mean, even 4,000 damage more than Dumnus.
Yeah, impressive stuff from Fussy there. Unfortunately, not enough to get his team over the line. But that, sadly, is the way the cookie crumbles. And Isner there, not a whole lot of damage going across from here, of course, in that 2-5-1. Very much just...
And why flag baguette? I don't think that's right.
You sure?
5,623 damage with 50 shots. Post-match stats.
Not sure. That's all right. I'm happy enough with it.
The thing is, Oops have got so many. I think Oops will still make it to the finals, to be honest. I think looking at their performance against Kazna Crew, better than Ding played, better than KB played. The thing is, if Oops do make it to the finals, as I said, with their roster, the weird roster thing, I'm not sure how they're going to make that work for them.
I don't know.
I think if Ding has a good night's sleep as well, tomorrow, if Ding beats KB, which I think they will, then that match at Oops Ding, which is going to be insane.
I could use a good night's sleep too as well. I think it's been a long day, but a good day of games, of course, now as well. It's kind of nice actually sort of kicking off sort of in the afternoon and going from there. But we are done for the day, ladies and gentlemen. Let's have a look, of course, at the recap of the scores. We can show you exactly how things went down. It was Kazna Crew making their way through 5-2, 5-3, and they are advancing to our season finals. Oops put up a fight there as well. We saw them play quite well against Connecticut, so they should have some confidence there, even down in that lower bracket moving forward. Yeah,
I think Oops can be confident. I think they're the best team out of those 3. I mean, Ding hasn't played well so far. Obviously, hopefully they can get all their issues fixed tomorrow and we'll have a great game against KB. KB put some fire up against Oops and we could see how much damage they did against Kazna Crew, so that is going to be a fantastic first game to start us off with.
Absolutely. So, ladies and gentlemen, 2 p.m. tomorrow, we'll be checking that one out. But before we finish off, of course, Tom, I mean, a lot of hype, of course, for Kazna Crew. They were the favourites going into this one. They still had 3/4 of the vote, and they still brought it back 5 rounds to none at the end.
Well, yeah, the comeback is real. And Twitch chat was exploding with the comeback is real.
Yeah.
So clearly, Kazna Crew was the correct option in this time. But people, since today's already over, can still go vote for tomorrow's match between Ding and Knekkebrötchen. They can go on our Facebook page, click on that team vote button, and predict who's going to win and what the score will be. And the people who predict correctly and are the fastest get some bonus codes.
There it is. Easy as you like. Thank you for being with us today, Tom. It's been an absolute pleasure, mate. Nice to get you out of the office and in front of the camera every now and then, but it's been a lot of fun. And, of course, thank you guys for joining us as well. It's been really, really good. We knew we'd have good games today, and we weren't disappointed. Tomorrow, 2 more games left before the season finals. Starts at 2 p.m, same time, same place as it was today. We'll see you then for another epic couple games.